notes before we start Mirth today. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, as we do not have any questions, let us go ahead and get started. Okay, today we are going to take a look at Mirth Connect. So, can you guys tell me which screen you are seeing? Just the full screen of Mirth Connect, or are you seeing presented by?
No, full screen of Mirth Connect with the
Okay,
background white color.
perfect. All right, so let us go ahead and get started. We will be taking a look at Mirth Connect, its basics. Let's look at the architecture of Mirth Connect. What is Mirth Connect? Where do we use Mirth Connect? And what are the uses of Mirth Connect? And we'll also slowly deep dive into the architecture uh, as and when we progress through the presentations. Okay. So by the end of today's session, we'll be understanding what is Mirth Connect, where do we use it, what is its architecture, what are the various channel patterns that we have. If time permits, we'll also take a look at the installation part. I'll just quickly show you where to download the software from, what all things you have to install for Mirth Connect and all. Okay, so Mirth Connect is one of the famous integration engines out there in the healthcare market today. If you look at the history, there are many integration engines out there in the healthcare market or healthcare integration space specifically. There are integration engines like Rhapsody, Cloverleaf, CorePoint, GE Centricity, and GE's connector, not Centricity's. GE Centricity is a PM system. So GE connector is another integration engine, and we have many more like that. But these 4 or 5 integration engines that I just mentioned are most famous ones that you see out there in the healthcare integration space. All of them pretty much work on the same principle that they have to convert the data or handle HL7v2 formats as the initial or as the base core functionality of each of these integration engines. So these integration engines are developed to support data transactions using healthcare data standards like HL7v2, FHIR, X12. So there are various message types that are supported by most of the integration engines. So as you can see, all of these support HL7v2, XML, DICOM, uh, X12, delimited data, raw data, data being pulled out from the database. So all of these are supported by most of the integration engines. Okay. Uh, so out of these integration engines, how is Mirth Connect standing out? That is the main thing that we need to know. So Mirth Connect is called as NextGen Connect, is being promoted as NextGen Connect, but the name, the old name, Mirth Connect still prevails. Mirth Connect was acquired by NextGen almost 8-9 years ago. And since then, it is being promoted as NextGen Connect. But still on the website of NextGen, we see the name Mirth Connect because that is its famous name. And that is how it got popular. How does Mirth integration engine stands out from rest of the integration engines? Number one, Mirth Connect is a freeware, which means anyone can install and anyone can use it for their implementations, both in test and as well as production. There are no restrictions that you shouldn't go ahead and use in production, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. No such restrictions are given on the freeware. Second thing is it is open source, which means the code is open. It is present on GitHub. Anyone, if they want to add any sort of functionality, they are free to go ahead and add it and use it in their environment. So these are the two standout features that we have in Mirth Connect when compared to all the other integration engines. No other integration engine is free of cost. No other integration engine is open source from the list of integration engines that I just mentioned. Whether it could be Rhapsody, Cloverleaf, or CorePoint, or other integration engines, all of them are paid products. So earlier, few people may be thinking that Mirth Connect, it's a freeware, it may not have all the options, there may be security breaches, there may be concerns, but believe me, those are all kind of hoax, because Mirth Connect is being used in most of the enterprise level hospitals as well, where uh, millions of transactions are happening per day using Mirth Connect as the integration engine. Okay, and the security factor purely depends on where you're installing your Mirth Connect. How is your infrastructure designed? It is not based on the software. It is based on the infrastructure that you are going to um, that your hospital or your network is maintaining to ensure that there are no external threats. And not only that, when we talk about feature-wise, Mirth Connect has all the features that are needed by an integration engine to transact data from one system to another. Okay, it is so robust that uh, you can use it in production without any problem, without any issues. You can go ahead and use it. It can handle thousands and millions of messages every day with ease. And having all the options out there, still it is a very easy, approachable software to learn, or very easy, approachable tool to learn because of its linear architecture, because of its message processing mechanism, which is very straightforward. Okay, if you talk about other integration engines, we have many layers to understand, many components to understand about to build an interface. But with Mirth Connect, it is pretty much easy. That's what my opinion is. I have worked on various integration engines like Rhapsody. I worked on Iguana. I worked on Ensemble, G Connector, and few other integration engines. So my experience is Mirth is far more easier than rest of them. That being said, how do you tackle with current markets uh, requirement if you're learning only Mirth Connect? You don't need to worry. If you are familiar with one integration engine, how it is processing the data, how you, if you have hands-on with that particular integration engine, then it's not a big deal for us to go ahead and learn other integration engines. The working methodology pretty much will be same with all the integration engines. Okay, it's just that the screens, the way the other application is working may be a little different. You have to explore and understand how things are done in that particular application. For example, we have Gmail, we have Yahoo Mail, right? Both of them serve the same purpose of giving you or maintaining your emails, but the UI on how you navigate through Gmail may be different from how you navigate through Yahoo Mail. In very similar way, these softwares also serve the same purpose of handling healthcare data transactions in healthcare data standard formats. Uh, but the approach or the application view and the design may be a little different, but the functionality would remain same. Okay. So if you look at Mirth Connect, what all data types it supports, as I said, feature-wise, you don't have any setback with Mirth Connect. You have all of them. So it supports HL7v2, HL7v3, XML, TICOM, NCPDP, which is a pharmacy standard, X12, which is an insurance standard, delimited text. You can also transact raw data, which is unstructured data, and then work with that data to get the desired transaction that you want to. And an integration engine is something that is present between two applications, right? It comes into play only if a transaction has to happen from system A to system B. Now that it's a middleware or it's a middleman between two different applications, it has to go ahead and support all the kinds of connection models so that it can transact data from one system to another by connecting through those connection models. Right. In our yesterday session, we did take a look at networking, and from networking, we saw that there are 5 to 6 connection models that we have gone through. So Mirth Connect supports all of them. The ones that I displayed the other day, it supports file reader, file writer, SFTP, FTP, TCP/IP. It supports database connections. It supports uh, REST services, web services, plain HTTP connections. So it supports all of those connection models which are famous and which are the most frequent ones that are used in today's world to transact data between two different systems. Okay. That being said, Mirth is an organization and it also needs revenue, right? So there are few features which are not present in the freeware. Okay. For that, you need to present or not present, but for that, you need to purchase enterprise license. So people can purchase enterprise license to get these additional features. So there are few required features which we don't see in the basic version. The features like SSL manager. What is SSL manager? Basically, whenever you are hosting a service or whenever you are interacting with a RESTful service or web service, it needs to bound by the SSL certificate. If you do not bind a service with the help of an SSL certificate, it will shoot up an error. Not it will transact the data, but it will one thing, it may shoot up an error if you are using two-way transactions, two-way TLS connections, or another thing is the data that you are transacting between your system and the destination system will not be encrypted. So that's a problem, right? So to satisfy that particular purpose, there needs to be an SSL manager which can bind your REST services or web services. Another feature is role-based access control. Role-based access control is,
Dixon,
yeah,
sorry. Good morning. Sorry to disturb. Can you just repeat that last line? Data will not be encrypted. After that,
yes,
you said something.
data will not be encrypted is one thing. And second thing is you may see issues if you're working with two-way TLS connections. So two-way TLS connections are situations where server presents its certificate and proves its identity, and client also needs to present its certificate and prove its identity. So if you are new to HTTP transactions, then this might sound a little different. For that, the things that you need to go through is you have to understand what is client server architecture, and you should see how the web services or REST services are um, bound with SSL certificates. These are the two topics that you have to go through. Not very important at this point, Lavanya, because SSL connections and all, we are not going to take a deeper look at it as part of this training. It falls under a little bit advanced category. But tomorrow down the line, when you go ahead and explore more after learning the basic stuff, you can go ahead and explore more on these two topics: client server architecture, SSL management in web services.
Uh, okay, Dixon. This was Aisha.
Aisha,
Uh,
okay, yeah.
yeah, and what would be the cost for this kind of service if you are getting it from Mirth? Like, how does it cost? Is it too much, too less?
Uh, so see, now I'll tell you. I'll tell you at the end. Once we complete about these three extensions,
Okay,
we'll
okay,
talk
sure.
about that. So role-based access control is a user management console where you can tell what certain user can do. By default, whoever logs into Mirth Connect freeware who doesn't have all of these enterprise extensions are administrators on the application. They can do whatever they want. They can delete interfaces, they can create interfaces, they can look at the code, they can do lot many other things what an admin can do. But that is something we don't want in case if you are working as part of a huge team. We want to have control on what a user can do. But unfortunately, this feature is not available in the base version. Okay, you have to go ahead and get the enterprise license, and they will give you few plugins which you can install to get these features. Okay, so another one is channel history. So this is another plugin. There are many other plugins like cluster administrator. Um, there is another plugin called message creator. So there are many different plugins that are available with Mirth Connect, which are given to clients who pay for their enterprise or support license. Okay, how much does it cost? So it costs very much less than what you see in the healthcare world for other counterparts like Rhapsody or Ensemble or other aspects of it. It depends on um, client to client. So it depends on what kind of infrastructure you have, how many number of installations you are going to have. But there are three different plans that I am aware of. You have silver, you have gold, you have platinum. Okay, silver will cover so many number of licenses or so many number of instances of installation, and if you exceed that, then you might have to jump to the next plan, which is gold. Gold will support around 25-30 licenses, and platinum supports unlimited number of licenses. So depending on the number of licenses, you have to choose any one of these plans, and each plan, the basic plan, the silver plan that you go ahead with, is way less than what you go with the basic plan of other integration engines. That is for sure. It's almost 1/5 or 1/6. The prices are not consistent, so I cannot quote a price. It may be around $7,000 to $15,000 for silver plan, and from there you may go for gold for 30, 40. So it depends on the size of the client, many other factors and discounts that Mirth is offering. And another thing is, few people may not go for the entire license. They just want SSL manager, or they just want role-based access control. So there is something called as extension bundle that is sold by Mirth Connect. That will cost around $3,000 for, and all of these costs are per year. So that will cost around $3,000 to get the bundle, and that bundle would have few of the plugins, not all the plugins. There are only 3 plugins as part of that bundle. One of the plugin is SSL Manager. I don't think you will get role-based access control as well, but SSL Manager is present as part of that bundle. Okay, does it answer your question, Aisha?
Yes,
Yeah.
because one of my client is using Mirth, and I feel they don't have complete access as per what I have understood. Now I get it. Probably they just have the SSL because it got expired and they're struggling for it.
Okay. Okay. Maybe.
In that, Dixon, which plan is most preferable plan in that? You said platinum, gold, and silver, right?
See, these these are plans based on um, 2 factors. One is number of licenses. Second thing is the level of support that you need. If you are in the basic plan, like the silver plan, then you will go 24/7 support, and someone will be available, and you will get 5 to 10 licenses, I guess. And if you go to gold, then you will have around 30 licenses, and you will get gold support, which is a dedicated resource will be there for you, something like that. So the difference is the premium premium services that you get as and when you proceed or progress on the plans. So it depends on your client. It depends on the hospital, depends on the organization who is working, who is using this Mirth Connect. So if they feel that we need premium support, then they will go for the higher plan. If they feel that we just need normal support, we are okay to wait for some time to get a response from Mirth, then they will go with the basic support. So it purely depends on those factors, on which plan you want to choose. There is no difference in terms of functionality, features, and all. With the basic, whatever the functionality features you get, you'll get the same with the advanced as well.
I saw in Rhapsody there is a EDI designer for HL7 message building.
Right.
So in our Mirth also that kind of application is there.
Mirth is pretty much hands-free. There you have your EDI designer where you can develop your mappers to map source data to destination data, which is mostly predefined. But within Mirth Connect, it is mostly flexible. You can paste your own template, and using that source template, you can have your destination template as well, and you can write your own mappings. So it is more flexible in that aspect. But if you are a beginner, then that EDI designer may look more appealing, because you just drag and drop and map the things, right?
I can drag and drop and design that code, and I can bring that code to use in Mirth Connect, right?
Right. No.
No.
You cannot use that in Mirth Connect, because that language, whatever you see at the bottom of the window when you are mapping, is proprietary to Rhapsody. You cannot go ahead and run that in the Mirth Connect. So solutions in Rhapsody will work only in Rhapsody. In Mirth Connect, you have to have your own approach of how you want to build or how you want to transform data from source template to destination data in the transformer section. We haven't seen that yet. We will see that slowly as and when we proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, Sankirtana, you have a question. Sankirtana, if you're talking, we are unable to hear you. I see that you have unmuted yourself, but we cannot hear you. Yeah, you can paste your question in the chat. So while she types that question, yeah, regarding SSL manager this is her question. Regarding SSL manager, does Mirth Connect be a certificate authority providing SSL to the end user? No, we don't. Because certificate authorities are registered entities. Mirth is a integration engine software application provider. It's not a certificate attesting authority. So no, we don't do that. Does that answer your question, Sankirtana? All right, I hope it does. Yeah, we will talk about SSL manager down the line when we see more on. I told you, right? We will go ahead and take a look at the configurations of REST services. At that point of time, I'll show you how SSL manager works. I have few screenshots which I can show you and explain what are the functionalities that are present in SSL manager. So we'll go through that. All right. So any other questions from anyone? Okay.
No, Dixon.
Okay. All right. Let's proceed with the channel design. So if you go ahead and log into Mirth Connect, what is the first thing that you will see? On the right-hand side, you see the dashboard, right? So this is the first screen that you will see. And these are all list of interfaces that are there. So this is a screenshot of my test server that is installed on my system. So I have so many interfaces which are transacting data on a daily basis, right? So this is how you see the view as soon as you log in. So within Mirth Connect, we need to develop an interface, right? An interface which can transact data from one system to another. Okay. So as I told you in the beginning, an interface is nothing but a bridge or a tunnel which will connect two different systems so that the data can transact through that bridge or the tunnel. And these bridges are called as interfaces, right? Every software like Mirth, Rhapsody, and other integration engines, have their own naming convention to identify an interface. In Rhapsody, we call it as a route. In Ensemble, we call it as production. In Integration Buddy, we call it as profile. In Mirth Connect, we have a name called channel. So whenever I say channel all through our training, it means that we are referring to an interface between two different systems, which is going to transact data from source system to the destination system. Okay. So all of these interfaces that you're seeing, each one of them is a channel. So this is one channel, this is second one, this is third one, this is fourth one. Each of them are designed to go ahead and serve certain purpose. If you look at this one, we can see that it's doing a, so I named it in such a way so that I can know what is the functionality that that particular channel is performing. So you can see that um, we are converting multiple objects to a single XML object, or we are receiving web HTML data and converting that to Excel data. Here I am transacting HL7 data to XML and sending it to a web service. So I did create few channels for various functionalities, but at the end of the day, you can see that each channel is performing certain transaction or certain functionality. So whenever you are building a channel in Mirth Connect, it has 4 components. Okay. The first component is source, second one is filter, third one is transformer, and fourth one is destination. So every channel has these 4 components, and the destination connector may be many, one to many. So you can have one destination, or you can have more than one destination if your particular requirement demands. For example, earlier I told you, or earlier we have seen a scenario, right, where there is 3 hospitals or 4 hospitals or 10 hospitals which are sending orders to one single lab. Let's say it is Lucid Diagnostics. Okay. And when Lucid Diagnostics wants to return all the results will be sent to source of Mirth Connect, and they transmit through filters, transformers, and destinations. When you come to destination, there may be multiple destinations. Destination 1 pointing to EHR1, destination 2 pointing to EHR2, destination 3 pointing to EHR3. So within one Mirth Connect channel, you can receive data on one single source, but you can deliver the data to hundreds of destinations. It doesn't matter how many destinations you have, you can deliver as many destinations to as you want. Okay. So, but there will at least be one destination within your channel. That is the basic minimum required number of destinations that you should have. You can add as many number of destinations as you need. Okay. So these are the 4 components that will be part of Mirth Connect. Now, when we explore more, let me tell you the way or the philosophy that we are going to have to understand Mirth Connect architecture. We'll be slowly peeling off the design and zooming it in to this design. Okay. We'll be slowly getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this particular architecture of how things are designed at each level, how things are designed at component level, how things are designed at filter level, how things are designed at transform level, how the message is going to transmit from the point it receives into source till it delivers the message from destination. So for the rest of the few days, we'll be revolving around these things once we complete the application workflow. Okay. So it will be like peeling off an onion to discover what is there, what is the next layer, what is the next layer, and so on. So that is the approach that we are going to have. So slowly we'll be zooming in more into the architecture of this particular channel. So it is a linear transaction. Message will be received on source, will be transmitted to filters and then transformers and then destinations. So let's go ahead and take a little deeper look into this architecture. So this is the channel architecture. The second level, we have just zoomed in a little bit more to understand how the channel is designed. So the arrow represents the transaction of the message. So whenever you see any channel, there are 2 main components within a channel. One is source and the other one is destination. So as you can see, these both are divided but bound together always. Okay. Whatever data leaves source component will enter into destination component, and destination will deliver that message to the destination. Source will always wait to listen and get the data from an external system. Now let us say you have a PM and EHR, right? So PM will send the data to source connector. Source connector will transact the data all through the components, and at the destination, it will deliver that message to the EHR system. Okay, so we are seeing the middle part on how these transactions are happening. So as I just said, we have two components within every channel, the source component and the destination component. Source component will have source connector where it will receive the data on, and then it will pass the data to source filters and source transformers. In our previous slide, I told you that there is a middle layer which has filters and transformers. But if you take a deeper look at it, every channel has these two components, and each component has its own source filters and transformers. Destination has its own filters and transformers. Okay, so these three are bound together and they are called as source, and these three are bound together and they are called as destination. What if you have multiple destinations? If you have multiple destinations, then each destination will have its own set of filters and transformers. Okay, that's how the channel is designed. So when a message travels, it is a traveling path. It's very simple travel path that you have to be aware of on how the message is traveling from one component to another. Remember, we have the pipeline, right? Let's say that there is a huge colony and there is a central tank and water repository, and from there the water supply is uh, given to all the houses within that colony. And there is a specific path that the water travels through to reach each one of these houses, right? In the same way, when a message is received on the source connector, it will go ahead and take a travel path. We need to be aware of that travel path. Okay, so that's what we are looking at here. So when a message is received on source, it will go to source filters, then it will go to source transformers, and from there it will enter the destination component. It will go to the destination filters, it will go to destination transformers, and then it will go to destination connector. Destination connector will deliver the message to the final destination wherever it has to go. Okay. And when we look at the source filters and source transformers, within source filters and transformers, we are going to use three different technologies. One is XML. We'll be dealing with XML data, so we need to be aware of XML. Second is JavaScripting. So JavaScripting is used to go ahead and perform all the various kinds of transformations that we have to perform while the data is traveling through our channel. And third thing is we need to be aware of E4X, which is ECMAScript for XML, which makes the XML object native to JavaScript. Okay. If you're not aware of these three, don't worry. We are going to take a look at these three from scratch. We'll be taking a look at what is XML object, and we will see what is an E4X. And I'll also cover JavaScript. Now, when I say I'll cover JavaScript, I'm going to cover JavaScript only on the concepts that are needed by Mirth Connect. I am not going to explain the entire programming language. Okay, so we will cover the topics from basics to little bit uh, intermediate topics in JavaScript which are needed for us to develop a channel. Okay. Any questions before we jump on to the next slide?
Dixon, hi, Aisha here.
Yeah, sure.
Just want to know, every time we have the source filters and source transformers and destination filters and destination transformers always in a channel when we are doing it, or is it like it can be or it cannot be, like is it optional? Because you would have already transformed and translated a message in your source connector. Once the message enters into source connector, you would have done one level of transformation,
right?
Correct?
Right.
And is it always needed that you also need a destination transformation? Like, is it
Not
mandatory
needed.
or is it
Not needed.
okay?
It is not needed. They are there. The components are always there because that is the basic skeletal structure of any channel that you are going to create. But whether you use it or not use it, it is up to you. Okay. If you're not using it, the message will not be transacted through filters and transformers. The filters and transformers will get executed only if there is a code in there. If there is no code or no transformation step there, then those will not be executed or called when a message is traveling through the channel.
Okay, so they can bypass this
Yes,
in
yes,
case.
they will.
Okay.
If you don't have any code there, the channel will automatically bypass those components.
Okay, thank you. And just tell me the full form of this E4X, please.
ECMA script for XML.
Mask for XML. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? All right. So now next, let us take a look at the design of each of the channel patterns that we can create. Now that we know that every channel has these components, let's go ahead and take a look at what all kinds of channels we can create. Okay. So there are 3-4 basic patterns that we can see. So we'll talk about these patterns and their real-time use cases so that we would know what kind of channel I have to create for a certain use case when you're working on your real-time projects. Okay. That being said, these are not uh, the only ones that we have. You can go ahead and have a lot of other patterns as well. I'm just giving you an overview on and giving you an idea at a very broad level on what all types of patterns can be created within Mirth Connect. Okay, first one, if you look at the first pattern, it says integration pattern, which is pretty much basic stuff. It is very straightforward. You will have one channel. Channel will receive the data on source. It will transform the data, or the message would travel through filters, transformers of both source and destination. And then finally, message is sent to destination connector. Destination connector may be writing the data to database. Now here in our screen, in our example, I have set most of them to database. It is not essential that it should be database always. It can be any other receiving system, which may receive the data on TCP/IP, which may receive the data um, on web services or a database as shown in the screen. So it may be anything. It is not necessary that it should be database always. All right. So that being said, integration is a very plain channel where you have source, filters, transformers, and destinations. Very straightforward. Now let us go to the second model, which is broadcast. So as the name itself suggests, it is going to broadcast the message. So we see news, which will be sent to, or which will be displayed in everyone's screen in television, right? Broadcast is a model where you will receive one message and you can replicate the same message to many different destinations. Okay, so you will receive the message and that message will travel through source filters. It will travel through source transformers. After source transformations are done, the same message will be replicated to all the destinations that are there. If you have 3 destinations, the same message will be replicated to all the 3 destinations. If you have 10 destinations, or the same message will be replicated to all the 10 destinations. Okay, so now let's take an example and understand this. Let's say there is one PM system. There is a huge hospital, and this hospital has many different clinics all over the city, small clinics. Okay, each clinic is using their own EHR system, for example. But the PM system is centralized, which means the clinics will also use the same PM system, and the central uh, facility of that particular hospital is also using the same PM system. Now, when a patient is registered in the PM system, it has to have its record in all the EHR systems because we will never know which clinic patient might visit to. Right? Hospital already has the patient record, so it has to be there in all the EHR systems. So when a patient is registered in PM will trigger an HL7 ADT message to this source, and that will travel through source filters, source transformers. Once that is done, the same message is replicated to all the EHR systems. Okay, and they will be returned to individual EHR databases. So this is the basic default functionality of Mirth Connect. If you have more than one destination, same message that is coming out of the source component will be replicated and be sent to all the three destinations or all the destinations that are present. Okay, that is broadcast. Next channel model that you have is router. So if you look at router, as the name itself suggests, it will help you in routing the message to a specific destination. How it does that? Let's see. Now, when the message is received on the source connector, it will complete the source connector related transactions, like it will complete the source connector components. It will go through source filters, it will go through source transformers. Once that is done, the same message is replicated to all the destinations, right? That is what we have seen here in broadcast. Once the source component is done, same message replicates through destinations. So we are also seeing the same thing here. Message is received on source, and the same message is replicated to all the three different destinations. And every destination has its own set of filters and transformers. I told you in the architecture slide, right? If you have multiple destinations, every destination has its own filters and transformations. So when the message is replicated to each one of these filters, there will be a business logic within this filter, which will tell whether or not to transact that particular HL7 message. For example, let's say that we have an EHR system, which is, sorry, not EHR. Let's say that we have a lab system. A lab system is sending its results to all the EHR clients. Okay, so it will send all the results, irrespective of which EHR result it belongs to. It is going to send all the results to the source system. It will send the results here, and with the basic nature of Mirth Connect, every result that is received will be duplicated to all the destinations. Okay, so let's say that we have received result only for the first EHR system, which belongs to the first EHR system. Now we received the EHR result. The same message will be replicated to all the three destinations, destination 1, destination 2, destination 3. But within these filters, we will have a business logic which will say, look into the message, find out if it belongs to EHR1. If it belongs to EHR1, then process the message further. If not, filter the message. So we will have a business logic within this filter, which will go ahead and filter the messages for us. Similarly, now we have received the message for EHR1, right? So it will go to all the three destinations. In first destination, it will get processed successfully because that HL7 belongs to EHR1. Now, in second destination filter, it will go ahead and get filtered because that particular message doesn't belong to this particular destination. And in third destination filter as well, it will go ahead and filter the message because it doesn't belong to this particular destination. In this way, you will go on, it will go on filter the messages and route the messages specifically or accordingly as per the business requirement. Okay. Yeah, Aisha, you have a question.
Yes. What about the account? Like, are we not bypassing the patient data? Like, because everyone is getting it. For example, as you gave the example, we have a lab, right? And this lab will transform all the patient data, whether it's clinic 1 or clinic 2 or clinic 3, but it will send it to all the three destinations.
Correct.
Are we not, like, the patient data is not secured, right? Because it's going in. They can see that.
No. It's not going in. It is held in Mirth Connect. Mirth Connect is going to filter the message. It is not going to deliver the message to the destination. Message is not delivered to the destination yet, right?
Oh,
It
okay.
is in Mirth Connect. Mirth Connect is stopping it as a filter, and it will not process the message further. When it is not processed further, it is not delivered to destination. So the end client will not be able to see it.
Okay, so still it's okay. It's still within the boundaries of Mirth. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. So let's jump on to the next pattern, which is to go ahead and take a look at chaining. So chaining is one type of architecture or one type of design that you can go ahead and implement if you want to. So let's say that we have a requirement where we are receiving lab data, result information. We want to write the result information to a database. At the same time, we also want to go ahead and create a PDF report out of that particular result message. Okay. So this is the functionality that we have. There are many different ways of achieving it, but to explain chaining, I have taken this design approach. So in chaining, what happens is you can point the destination of one channel to source of another channel and form a chain of channels which are interconnected with each other. Okay. Here we are seeing that we'll receive the message on the source. It will travel through filters and transformers. And once everything is done, you see that we have two destinations. One of the destination is pointing to source of another channel. So this is another brand new channel altogether. And you can ask this destination to send the message to another channel within the same instance of Mirth Connect. Now, this is within the same instance, not on some other server or some other instance of Mirth Connect. If you have another channel within the same Mirth Connect instance, then you can route the message from one channel to another channel. Okay, so now let us apply our use case. In our use case, we are talking about inserting the data to database as well as generating a PDF file, right? So you will receive the data on the source that will pass on the data to filters, transformations, and from there, the message is replicated to both the destinations. So it will go to destination 1, where it will be returned to the database. Destination 2 will route the same message to another channel, which is source, which has source, and it will transact that message through filters and transformers, which will go ahead and generate the PDF file. Then finally, you will write the data to a PDF file, and a PDF report is also generated at the same time. Okay, so in this way, you can interconnect any number of channels that you want. It purely depends on the design. Now, one of the major questions that I receive is, how do I decide which pattern I choose? There is no steadfast rule that you have to go with this particular pattern or this particular pattern. It purely depends upon your business workflow, business requirements, and all. Okay, so it comes with experience on what pattern you have to go ahead and create. So depending on the requirements, you will be designing your patterns. So if you're a beginner, you need not worry. It purely lies with someone who is experienced with integration on how they have to have a design approach for a channel. But as and when you develop and and come to awareness about what are the various patterns that we have, with experience, you will understand which is the best approach. Okay, so now itself, don't worry about what pattern I have to choose. As of now, we'll concentrate more on creating channels and applying these logics to see how we can set up filters, how we can build transformations, and how we can write the data to database, how we can go ahead and receive data on source and have certain configurations on source and all of these things. So we'll go through these basic stuff first. Yeah, Aisha, you have a question.
Hi, Dixon. This one, in the last one, chaining method,
Mm-hmm.
when you said we took the message from source, transformed, like passed through the filter and transformation, and ended up into two destinations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this actually went to one of the clinics. Like if I have to take in that concern,
Mm-hmm.
example, so it already reached the clinic, and again we also pushed it into one database, and then from there we picked it up and did a transformation to convert it into PDF. Is my understanding right?
Here,
Or
little bit right, little bit incorrect. Now here, D represents destination within Mirth Connect. Okay, when the message is traveling through the channel, it will reach a destination component, right? So the destination connector will decide where the message has to go. So here, the destination is writing the data to the EHR database. Okay, here, the destination is sending the data to another source of another channel.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now within the hospital, what will happen? One, it will write the data to its EHR application so that doctors can see it. Second, it will write a PDF report to one of the servers within the same hospital so that they can have access to all the PDF reports as well, uh, so that they can give those reports to the patients.
Got you. Okay.
Okay, instead of doctor giving a printout and all, they may have this kind of methodology where the report dispensing kiosk may be there, where they will be dispensing or giving all the reports to the patients whoever asking for.
This could also be for the prescriptions, right? Like normally in
Anything,
UAE, yeah, okay. Because the
anything.
doctor doesn't give and you collect it from the
Kiosk, yes,
pharmacist.
right.
Okay.
Right. It can be anything. We just took the example of lab reports so that we can understand, but wherever this scenario is applicable, they may have this approach.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. So with this, we'll complete or conclude today's session. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll take a look at how do we install Mirth Connect, where do we download it from, what are the things that we have to keep in mind while installing Mirth Connect and all. And then we will jump into the application tour. So once we know the installation part, next is for us to become familiarized with the application. So there are many things within application that we have to be aware of, how to navigate through different screens, how do we start creating a new channel, what are the configuration items that we have to configure while creating a channel, and what is the use of each of those components. So we are going to take a look at each of these, how to navigate first thing. And second thing is, while creating channel, what are the configuration items that we have? We'll touch base on most important config items and understand their functionality. Completing everything within the application, every option is not possible, right? But we'll touch base on the most important aspects of each of those options so that you will be able to create the application. Rest of the options is kind of exploration that you have to do while creating the channels or while building the channels in your real-time production interfaces. So I'll cover 75% to 80% options that we have, most of them, which are absolutely necessary for you to begin with. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You all have a very good day. If you guys don't have any questions, you guys can drop. We can catch up tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.
Dixon, I have a personal question. Can I call you after the call?
Yes. Call me on WhatsApp.
Okay, Dixon. Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
Dixon, Vijay here.
Yeah, Vijay.
I have one question like what is
Sure.
EMR and what is EHR? And if in EMR, PM and EHR are both in the EMR, then how the HL7 work?
No, I did not get the second part. I got your first part.
EHR and EMR can be in the same system, right?
EHR?
And PM?
Yeah.
EHR and PM are in the same system. And when registration or appointment happens, then how does the message travel? Because it is not going to another system.
Right. Correct. So if EHR and PM are a combined console like HIS, which we call as hospital information system, then there is no scope of transacting data because both the modules are present in the same application and they are interacting with one single database itself. Right. So there is no need of having a transaction there. So there will be no HL7 message there at all. Okay. In that situation, if it's a HIS system has to transact with some other outside entity, like for example, doctor is placing an order and that order has to go out of the HIS system, then we will have the requirement of transacting an HL7 message from the HIS system to lab system. Okay, that's your second question. First question, difference between EMR and an EHR. EMR is electronic medical record, EHR is electronic health record. Both of them are softwares. They are differentiated only based on one fact that EMRs do not have the capability to transact data with the outside systems. whereas EHR does. So that's the differentiating factor. It is, I mean, technically speaking, we can go ahead and have an EMR uh, develop, enhance to transact data with outside systems as well. But it is, I mean, that is how it was called in the earlier days. We used to call as EMR and EHR. EMR cannot interact with outside systems like lab systems or PM systems. Basically, it is not interoperable, whereas EHR is interoperable.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions from anyone?
Dixon, again,
Yeah, Aisha.
continuing on what the gentleman asked the question.
Mhm.
If I take, like, we have one hospital where you have this EMR, electronic medical record for one patient, correct? But then, as you gave the example initially in the second pattern, we have different subclinics for that same big hospital, right? So the same patient record, that's the EMR, is also present in these three clinics. So are we still, like, is there conversion between this EMR to EHR to move on to the clinics, or am I just getting confused in these terms?
I was not clear on the question. Can you repeat it if you don't mind?
Okay, you said EMR is electronic medical record within the premises. It cannot move out from the premises, correct?
No. I'm not talking about the medical record of a patient. I'm talking about the software. I'm talking about the technical part of the software. EMR is a software which doesn't have the capability to transact data to other systems. Let's say doctor is placing an order in EMR and that sits in there. It cannot electronically go ahead and send the order to the lab system. Okay, it is not designed to go ahead and do that for many other reasons. So if you have a software which can go ahead and enable interface transactions and have the methodology to go ahead and transact or send the data outside, such softwares are called as EHRs.
Okay. So
Okay, technical from software wise, not patient related or not a single record related.
okay.
Software as a whole, if it can have those transactions,
Okay.
then that is called as EHR.
So if I understand, then why is even the EMR software used when it cannot do any?
In olden days, now we don't see EMRs anywhere. We hear these terms from back from 2000s, where EMR is just there to store all the clinical repository data and represent a patient record. All of these things like lab interfaces and all kickstarted back then in 2000, especially in the US. But the interactions or the transactions, electronic transactions that we are talking about has peaked out after 2008, where we had Obama healthcare plans coming out.
Okay.
Not all the hospitals were having this functionality of transacting electronic orders, electronic results and all before 2008. They were storing data electronically in their systems, which was okay to transact claims and all with the insurance companies. But later, so I'll explain the story. In the last two sessions, we are going to see how US healthcare US healthcare took the phase which we are seeing today, where interfaces became one of the most essential part of their healthcare infrastructure.
Okay, got you. So basically, it was a standalone at that time.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Now you don't hear this term anywhere. You see EHR or you talk about HIS. No one talks about EMR anymore.
Okay.
So that was just a medical record keeping software. That's all.
Okay.
EHR is next version of it, where it can do lot many other things apart from keeping a medical record.
And HIS is on the same lines?
HIS is combined module of both PM and EHR. When you talk about EHR is electronic health record, which will store only clinical data of the patient, right? And if you have only EHR, then you need to also have separate system called as PM, which will help you to manage the entire rest of the hospital. Administrative stuff like bookkeeping of doctors, looking at appointments, managing other rooms, managing other operation theaters, scheduling the appointments for those theaters, uh, and lot many other things that are not done in EHR. But an HIS application is an application which will have all of these modules. It will have appointment modules, it will have management modules, it will also have EHR related modules together within the same application. That is called as an HIS application.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Thank you so much.
Yep. No problem. All right. So if you do not have any questions, let's go ahead and conclude today's session. Bhavan, you have a question? All right. I'm not hearing anything. Thank you so much, guys. You all have a good day. We'll catch up tomorrow morning. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dixon, sorry. One last question.
Yeah, Aisha, tell me.
Tomorrow, should we be ready with all the installations, like what you said?
No, not required. Not required. Tomorrow, I'll tell you what all things you have to keep in mind while installing.
Okay.
There are a couple of things, even while installing SQL, you have to take care of a couple of things to make it easier. I mean, not that you can install the way you want it, just to make our life easy as beginners. I just want to make sure that you are installing SQL with certain options. So I'll tell you what those options are.
Okay. Today I will get your number from Srinivas. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
So
sure. No
probably
problem.
once I get that, maybe I can get the drive also.
Drive access Srinivas will give.
Oh,
Srinivas
okay.
is the one because he's the administrator. He manages all of those things. Your anything related to admin, go to Srinivas.
Okay. Great.
Anything technical, I can go ahead and help you with that.
Sure. Okay. All right. Got you.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.